There, so today we have another review. This is a beer courtesy of Chris. Thank you so much. He sent this along with the Cicerone beers that we're tasting, studying for advanced Cicerone. So really cool stuff. This is from Wild Provision Beer Project, and they're doing some crazy stuff. They're doing cool ship cooling. They're doing spunding. They're doing just like a lot of traditional processes. And this is their premium pale Czech style lager. So really geeky on this one. The being short on label, it says 12P, which is 12 Plato, which is a way that I think a lot of brewers, non-home brewers, and European brewers will check on the gravity of a beer. So a lot of people would consider some Czech lagers to be, this is a Czech Pilsner, but under BJCP, it's actually under Czech Premium Pale Lager, which would include beers like Budvar and Pilsner Quell. And they're just geeking out. Like, they're not calling this like, they could literally just call this Czech style Pilsner, but they're calling it Czech Premium Pale Lager. It's so BJCP, like kind of like geeky that like I enjoy, but I don't think it messages much to the people that don't understand what's going on. So, hey, I don't know. I geek out. I love it. I love the labeling. I love that it's called Premium Pale Czech style lager, just like BJCP does. They're locking down on what they're trying to do. So, and they're doing a lot of crazy processes. So, hey, why not? Beer is, that's not a German style pale. It comes a little slightly darker color. It comes in a slightly medium gold. Has a fluffy white head to it. Yeah, slightly darker. I mean, that's all the traditional kind of like light multi-characters you get from Pilsner, along with the floral. But it's less floral, grassy, pretty like German. It's, traditionally Satz, Satz, as they call it. Ideally, this would be pure 1% Satz. So it's a little bit more just like less bright. It's still bright, but a little bit more deep base, like tea-like, with a lot of malt. I don't get the big kick of diacetyl that Pilsner Quell does. Pilsner Quell is, from what I understand, one of the highest diacetyl beers out there. So if you want to learn diacetyl, get some Pilsner Quell. Plato Premium Czech Style Lager. Yeah, that is Czech. Yeah. So that makes sense. That makes so much sense. Makes a lot of sense. So a lot of people call like their beers like quote unquote Czech style or Czech Pilsner. This makes sense. This reminds me of Pilsner Quell. I mean, I felt a few beers that are so much defined by a single beer, and if you make Irish stout, like you're going to be stood up against Guinness. That's the beer that's going to be defined by the sound. This makes sense against Pilsner Quell. It's so clearly defined, different from any German pils. There's a nice fatness to it, despite the nose not having a big diacetyl kind of like marker. Like that's one of the things, like marker. Here's the acetyl. Here's like a big fat Czech style pils. That's Pilsner Quell. But man, this beer is so fat in the sense that like it's not lean like a German pils. It shows itself with just this body of rich malt character. It reminds me of Munich Helles, but it's not quite that because it's almost a little fatter than that. So this can even get tricked to some of those bigger German beers, and it's just like me trying to decipher BJCP / advanced Cicerone. There's like so many beers can trick you. And it's spicy. Satz, that Satz is spicy versus that pretty kind of grassy, floral, pretty tone. It's a little bit more bass tony, along with that kind of malt character. And almost get a little bit like tobacco-y kind of like denseness to it, right? So almost like just a little bit deeper. But you can also get a little pretty note of like, so that's a spiciness I was talking about with that kind of tobacco note, but this is also like a floral kind of character with it. And there's a nice sweetness driving in there. But there's that just like that middle tone of just like decoction and richness that comes in, and that like slightly darker character. From what I understand, like Jeff Allworth talks about how like some of these beers are just like, hey, he's talking about decoction, how to get this color. Arguably a little bit of crystal malt or caramel malt. I don't know if that's actually the process what they do here, but it tastes as if like it is not just full Moravian Pilsner malt. There can be some like actual sweeter malts in here or darker malts in here, but absolutely fantastic. I mean, like, side pull this guy, like this is a great example. Like for similar to Pilsner Quell, like I don't think I've had a beer ever this close. Yeah, for sure. Not. Yeah. So this beer for me. Drink it for days. It's slightly sweeter, I will say that. It's less crisp than some of those beers that we hype up. I mean, I hype up, like, you know, Beer Shot Lager House and some of the delicious Pilsners out there. This is more of a, I mean, I can drink this beer just as much as those beers, but it's a little bit fatter, right? It's just a little bit more round, but I still enjoy that. So maybe I need to have this beer a little colder. I have warmed this beer a little bit. So, killer stuff. Let's go with a solid world class rating. 97. That is Wild Provisions Beer Project Premium Pale Czech Lager style. Whatever. This is a freaking Pilsner called cloner if I've ever heard of one. If that was your goal, you did a great job. If that's not your goal, you did a great job. This is freaking delicious. Until next time, guys. Cheers. Thank you, Chris. This is killer stuff. Cheers. Later.